So let's talk about compassion and gratitude practices, which is also important. So meditation is important, and so is compassion and gratitude practices. It also helps the brain. And I had no idea about that, right? But now I've learned something new when I was doing the research. Compassion and gratitude practice. That's why every single spiritual teacher is teaching people to have gratitude and compassion, to meditate and still your mind, to go within yourself, to focus yourself within yourself, to have compassion and gratitude for yourself and for others. I mean, be grateful and have compassion, right, for yourself and for others. Very important for me, for brain health, right? Very important. Let's explain how it works. So when you have compassion and gratitude practices, right, when attitude or a lifestyle, it increases oxytocin and serotonin, right? If I'm pronouncing it right. Oxytocin is a hormone of happiness, right, and calmness, and serotonin as well. Very good hormones that actually calm us down and make us feel more happier. So when you do the compassion and gratitude practices, you're able to make yourself happy and feel more comfortable with yourself and your life experience, right? And that's how it actually, gratitude practices actually uh, trigger oxytocin and serotonin, right, to be expressed from your body into the rest of the body, into your mind, from the mind centers to the rest of the body, right? So, strengthening the neural pathways and emotional stability, right? So, remember that a happy person is somebody who's always grateful, somebody who has a practice of gratitude and compassion for herself or himself, okay? Then mystical awakening experiences as well can also cause the brain, I mean, help with this whole awakening experience, because the mystical and awakening experiences are part of your awakening experience. Reducing default network, right? Reducing default mode network activity, like ego softens. So your ego will now reduce, right? That's one of the mystical experiences. When you become awoke and have an awakening experience, your ego will just kind of diminish. It won't be the sense of your being, the sense of your existence anymore. It just reduces, okay? And then it also enhances brain's ability to integrate meaningful symbolism and intuition as well, right? Interesting stuff, guys. Increase coherence between left and the right hemisphere, right? It increases the coherence between the left and the right hemisphere of your brain. Very important to know how important your brain is in your awakening, because without a healthy brain and a healthy sense of self, you're not able to have a connection with your intuition. And tapping into your intuition is very important to the process of awakening. That's why it's very important for you to take care of your brain health, your mental health is important, right? And I know it's been all over social media, it's been all over mass media about how important it is to have mental health. It's very important. It's not something that's only based on understanding psychology, but also understanding yourself on a day-to-day capacity. You just going to work, you just operating every day in life. You need to have a stable mind. You need to have healthy mental capacity in life, to cope in life, to operate in life, being able to go to work, being able to live your life as positive as possible and achieve all your goals and your ambitions. Right? Very important to have a healthy mind. Mental health is very important, right? And I think they need to show more of that type of content online to teach people the importance of mental health. To teach people the importance of mental health, right? Because without the mental health, you cannot operate here very well. You cannot have a good life experience if your mental health is unbalanced and not healthy, okay? Now, awakening supports cognitive longevity, which is quite interesting. Stress reduction protects the hippocampus. When you reduce your stress, you protect your brain. That's why it's important for you to, what they call it, manage stress, as they call it. Right? You need to reduce your stress because it protects your hippocampus, which is very important because it's your problem solving center, your executive function planning center. Your hippocampus is very important. Learning memory center as well. Very important for you to manage your stress, as they call it, or reduce your stress. And I know we live in a stressful world. Sometimes it's not possible, but you need to work on it, because then you're helping your brain health. You're preventing yourself from having mental cognitive decline. Like you will get diseases like dementia or even Alzheimer's if you don't take care of your brain because of the stress you have in your life. Learn to calm down and move yourself from a place of survival to thrival. You must thrive in peace. Very important. Mindful protection of the prefrontal cortex, as I said early on, which is about mindful meditations. When you do mindful meditations and live mindfully and be conscious in your everyday moments, it helps to protect your brain, your prefrontal cortex, right, which is part of a very important part of your identity. Right, I know because I'm somebody who had a head injury, right? But fortunately for me, the areas of my brain that was damaged was not the part that controls my executive problem solving areas. It doesn't control my memory as well. So I was kind of fortunate in that way. So I know the importance of a healthy brain and how important your brain is to you, right? Purpose and meaningful protection against dementia is very important because awakening supports your brain health as well, right? But firstly, you need to have a healthy brain, a stable consciousness, right? But as you get awakening and you become more aware of yourself and who you are, and start loving and embracing yourself, you also help yourself from having mental decline later on in your life. Okay, later on, as you get older, everything deteriorates, right? However, we have a means and ways to actually protect our brains and our bodies from declining and becoming too exhausted or sick in that sense. So we get physical sickness, we have mental sickness. The mental sickness is based on your brain, right? Your brain waves and your brain health. People need to know this at an early age. This should be taught in schools, not only in medical school, but in high school. It should be taught about mental health, brain health. Very important. Unlike people like myself who learned about these things later in our lives, this should be in our school curriculum. Right? Our children should be learning about these things, how important your brain is, what alcohol and smoking does to your brain on a high level, in-depthly. Now, what we just know vaguely, okay, they tell us that smoking is not good for you, but they're not saying, like, why is it not good for you? How does smoking and alcohol at a young age prevent your frontal cortex from developing? Because it takes a while. Remember, only by the age of 20, 25, actually, your frontal cortex is fully developed. And then people are indulging in alcohol and drugs in school, in high school, as teenagers. So by the time you get to 25 years old, you've really stifled or you stopped your growth of your frontal cortex. You have compromised yourself, your mental capacity, right? You have compromised it because of a lifestyle, because of choices that are not good for you. Now, spirituality is one of the strongest predictors of emotional resilience. Number one. Number two, slower cognitive decline. When you have a spiritual belief and a purpose, you have emotional resilience. You're strong emotionally because you have a strong belief, you have a compass, you have something to live for, you have a purpose. Because when you become awoke, you also discover your purpose because you understand who you are. You understand who you are. So it helps you with emotional resilience, number one. Number two, slows down the cognitive decline of your brain and your mental health, right? Better memory as well, because your memory also expands, because there's a sense of expansion when you become awakening to who you truly are. You do expand on all levels, spiritually and also physically. Your body gets more healthy and expanded, and so does your consciousness.